PinkLeaf was widely considered to be the best obbyist to ever exist in the entire history of the Roblox community, but the reality behind PinkLeaf being the best obbyist on Roblox hides a much less known secret. And part of that secret is the fact that he was actually never the best obbyist on Roblox. But before I get any complaints and a SWAT team at my door from the Tower of Hell fans, the history of PinkLeaf is an extremely motivational story if we go into how he rose to the top as the most famous obby YouTuber to ever exist on Roblox. But with a mass of such fame also always comes assumptions and beliefs. And because of PinkLeaf's extremely impressive speedrunning and parkour skills mixed together with the amount of YouTubers who had played with him and raced him in Tower of Hell for example, a majority of the Roblox player base was led into believing he was the actual best obbyist on Roblox. Meanwhile, videos that properly explain who the best obbyists on Roblox actually were had gotten less than 50,000 views, unlike any of PinkLeaf's videos. But how exactly did it get to a point where PinkLeaf was known as the best obbyist on Roblox by almost everybody though? Wouldn't it be more known if somebody happened to have such impressive skills to be better than him? Well folks, watch until the end to find out the true hidden side of Roblox obbies, along with the true dedication and skill that obbyists have achieved and will continue to achieve as time goes on. But how did PinkLeaf become so famous if he was never the actual best obbyist on Roblox? Was it perhaps the exposure of Rosalina, or was it possibly the gullible Creekcraft fans along with people he's collabed with that said he was the best obbyist on Roblox when they saw his speedrunning skills? Well, jokes aside, this video is really not meant to underestimate PinkLeaf's skills and dedication, but rather to explore the beauty of how far Roblox obbies have come, and to truly answer whether or not PinkLeaf was ever even close to being the actual best obbyist on Roblox at any point in time. With that said, however, if each one of you were to subscribe, we could surpass the total population of Nauru in subscribers before the end of 2024. It really only takes 2 clicks to like this video and subscribe, and it helps me out so much more than I can explain, especially considering that I plan to beat one of the hardest obbies to ever be completed on Roblox, no matter how long it will take me to complete, all for my loving subscribers. But anyways, who is PinkLeaf though? And how did he manage to go from a casual guy playing Roblox to one of the most famous Roblox YouTubers to ever exist? And all because of Tower of Hell. Everything began around the 19th of April in 2019, where PinkLeaf had uploaded his first ever video, or well, video that's public up to this day. And this video was something that you could normally expect from your average teenager playing Roblox back then. But the second video that PinkLeaf has ever uploaded, only a week after the first video, was a Tower of Hell video. Perhaps this could be where PinkLeaf had begun his interest in Tower of Hell and Roblox obbies overall, or perhaps it was a coincidence, we don't exactly know. But what we do know is that after this video was uploaded, PinkLeaf had gained a huge interest in Roblox obbies and Tower of Hell, which can easily be seen by the fact every single upload was related to obbies in one way or another, especially Tower of Hell after this video. And as time went on and as PinkLeaf had kept uploading Tower of Hell content, along with mastering his Roblox parkour skills, PinkLeaf's editing had begun to improve a lot with every single video that he was uploading, despite still using the average non-copyrighted NCS music that you would often hear in 2019 and 2020, and with how Roblox obbies had begun to rise higher than ever before in players' interest, so did PinkLeaf's YouTube channel as he kept uploading Tower of Hell content more and more. But hey, this isn't what you came here for. So let's fast forward to where PinkLeaf had achieved one of his biggest hits yet, which was a video where he raced the Tower of Hell owner for the prize of 500,000 in-game currency, which is known as Zixers. With the quickly growing popularity of Tower of Hell and overall obby content on Roblox, this video had achieved a total of 5 million views in a pretty quick matter of time since he had uploaded this video. But in this video, it is pretty obvious that PinkLeaf seems to be way better than almost all of the Roblox player base at this Tower of Hell game, along with Roblox obbies overall, or so people thought. With the hidden side of Roblox obbies remaining unknown, PinkLeaf and the Tower of Hell game by itself had kept rising and rising in fame, along with PinkLeaf improving his skills slightly and slightly more as time went on. And with this, the Roblox community had remained embedded with the ever-long idea of PinkLeaf being the best obbyist on Roblox at that time up until today. But with every impressive achievement that PinkLeaf had continued to achieve as time kept passing, such as beating the impossible obby, some extremely skilled individuals had been hiding in plain sight from the surface of the Roblox community. But who are these quote-unquote unknown Roblox obbyists that happen to be miles better than PinkLeaf has ever been? And what are these hidden and unknown Roblox obbies that PinkLeaf could have never completed? Welcome to the world of tiered obbies and towers that each have their own small community to them. If you thought something such as completing the impossible obby was the hardest difficulty that humanly possible Roblox obbies could get to, because PinkLeaf had actually completed the impossible obby, you were wrong. And none of PinkLeaf's speedrunning skills or parkour skills make up for this side of Roblox obbies. Let's not underestimate PinkLeaf though. He could have definitely improved and become one to play these obbies and keep rising in skill. But PinkLeaf's interest was always to be an entertaining YouTuber, to entertain his audience along with some parkour skills involved, rather than waste his time playing these unbearably difficult Roblox obbies that many will never be able to complete. Along with PinkLeaf being more of an extremely skilled speedrunner rather than being good at raw difficulty once he had memorized every Tower of Hell stage. And raw difficulty refers to the sheer difficulty of each jump in an obby, unlike speedrunning, which involves more muscle memory rather than raw difficulty skill. But what exactly are tiered obbies and towers though? Tiered obbies are community-made obbies that anybody can create. These obbies are usually shorter in length and range in tiers from tier 1 to tier 23 and so on, with every single tier above 18 currently being humanly impossible to complete, no matter how gifted you are as a skillful gamer. Because believe it or not, as a fun fact, brain genetics actually affect the way you improve at obbies and such, but let's not yap about that anymore. A tier 1 obby would be something that basically anybody can complete, no matter if you are playing on a 5 FPS computer from 15 years ago, while something such as a tier 15 obby is miles harder, and very few players could complete any of these obbies. And honestly, I don't know if PinkLeaf could actually do one of these tier 15 obbies, even with his current skill up to this day. But moving on, the tiered obby system works by each tier making the next tier of an obby twice as much harder as the last tier. So a tier 5 obby would be twice as hard as a tier 4 obby, for example. And when comparing the difficulty of a tier 1 obby to a tier 18 obby, which is the hardest tier to have ever been completed by humans, a tier 18 obby would get a total increase in difficulty by 132 and 72,000 times harder than a tier 1 obby. That number alone is more views than I have ever gotten on a video. So basically, a simple 2-star jump would turn into a jump that would mathematically and theoretically be 131 and 72,000 times harder if it was used in a tier 18 obby. Oh, and did I mention a tier 23 obby compared to a tier 1 obby would mathematically and theoretically be 40,194,304,000 times harder than a tier 1 obby. So now you know why everything above tier 18 is humanly impossible in difficulty. But anyways, with the absolutely astounding complexity of the tiered obby system discussed, we also have towers, which are much more simple to understand than tiered obbies. Towers are Roblox obbies that are 1,000 studs tall, with each floor being a 100 by 100 box, where you as a tower creator can add as much gameplay into your floors as you wish. And towers are usually much longer than your average tiered obby, with the average length being over 10 to 30 minutes in these towers. The difficulty in these towers has no specific way of progression like tiered obbies, except the fact it simply gets harder with every difficulty up until the peak of the Unreal difficulty. Anything above the absolute peak of Unreal difficulty would be humanly impossible to legitimately complete in these towers. But with everything I've said so far, what does all of this have to do with PinkLeaf exactly? Well, a Tower of Hell completion would be around tier 4 or easier in tiered obby difficulty, with the usual Tower of Hell random stage generation, that is. Now compare that to the hardest tiered obby difficulty to ever be legitimately completed by humans, which is a tier 18 obby called Back the That Benjamin, completed by Boom Sazok around July of 2023. And you would get an obby that's mathematically 16,384 times harder than a Tower of Hell completion. However, PinkLeaf was a pretty good speedrunner, and could get on pace with the Tower of Hell world records usually. So let's up the Tower of Hell completion from a tier 4 to a tier 10 with PinkLeaf's extremely tight speedrunning and muscle memory. The tier 18 obby would still theoretically and mathematically be 256 times harder than the Tower of Hell world record pace speedrun, without the use of any items. And keep in mind that these are the theoretical estimates of the difficulty differences, and may be slightly inaccurate. But PinkLeaf had developed pretty insane muscle memory and parkour skills all the way back in 2019. So could he ever have gotten at least somewhat close to being one of the actual best obbyists to ever play Roblox? In order to begin the answer of this question, we must look at the actual most impressive and difficult Roblox obby completions back in 2019, as that is when people had begun thinking that PinkLeaf was the best obbyist on Roblox. And for the beginning of this question, let's use the date of PinkLeaf's racing video, as that was his first big hit where people had begun to say he was the best obbyist on Roblox. Back then, let's say Tower of Hell would be around a tier 8 in difficulty with PinkLeaf's speedrunning skills, as PinkLeaf was nowhere near as good as he was before he quit YouTube later on. I know I shouldn't be ranking speedruns in tiers, but hey, this is for an estimated example of the difficulty difference of PinkLeaf's skill compared to the hardest obbies ever beaten by humans. Around when PinkLeaf had uploaded this racing video, the hardest obby to ever have been completed on Roblox was the Tower of Glory, verified by Aethernack around this time frame, with Tower of Glory being a tier 15 obby, with tier 15 being theoretically and mathematically 128 times harder than PinkLeaf's Tower of Hell speedruns and completions, with this example of a format for 2019. But as time kept going, PinkLeaf had begun to get better with his editing skills, helping him to become more and more famous on YouTube, along with improving his overall Roblox parkour skills. However, to keep this answer simple, sadly for those who looked up to PinkLeaf as being the best obbyist, he never actually was able to come even remotely close to being the actual best obbyist on Roblox. Not to say that his skills weren't impressive, obviously, or that his story of becoming the most famous Roblox obby YouTuber isn't an inspirational one, because PinkLeaf had achieved many extremely impressive achievements that many of us will dream of, but the true best obbyists of Roblox had never stopped attempting and completing new hardest Roblox obbies in these smaller Roblox obby communities, despite never receiving enough attention to be widely known on Roblox. With some of these lesser known obbyists being players such as MyFrata, Khan2005, Skitsuna, Aethernack, Monster is a Block, Speechless, EX6, I'm sorry if I can't spell that name, and many more. With every single one of these mentioned players being way better than PinkLeaf at Roblox obbies, and PinkLeaf's skills had no chance to come close to these players without further improvement required to ever complete any of these obbies. With some examples of these extremely difficult and somewhat unknown obbies being obbies such as the Tower of Generation Failure, the Tower of Cruel Punishment, and the Tower of Vacant Hindrances and Tower of Watermelon, along with many more tiered obbies such as Sharp Mint, Honor, Comatose, That Benjamin, and Stairway to Heaven, which is the most famous tiered obby to ever be created on Roblox, and this obby is actually yet to be completed by humans. But eventually it is guaranteed to someday get its own victorious winner with the dedication of the Roblox obby communities. But with everything I've said so far, in no way should PinkLeaf be underestimated, because I know some disrespectful players in these obby communities often underestimate how good he really was. He could have easily come to the top and improved a lot more if he was to actually begin moving into this unknown world of Roblox obbies. But PinkLeaf's goal was to entertain his viewers more than anything, and to enjoy the content he does, until life had gotten in the way and he had to quit YouTube for a while before coming back. But his comeback sadly didn't last long, as he is currently not uploading anything. Oh, and make sure to help me surpass the population of Nauru in subscribers and like this video. Thank you.